Welcome to What in the Actual Mental Health, where we are fucking it up daily for everybody around. You're welcome. Makes you feel better about your life choices.
Yeah. Also, it's just we're fucking it up for each other.
Yeah, for everybody and each other and one another. So you're welcome. So today we have a very lovely, fantastic guest. So Miss Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell people all the niggly bits you want them to know about your niggly bits. That was good timing. That was really would have been more classic if you would have spit it on me.
If she actually spit it, yeah.
That would have been amazing.
She came all over me.
Yeah, really. And I'm like, how weird. Like all people that we have today, and she like squirts in my face.
She squirts. Yeah.
Hello. That's a new skill, by the way.
Yeah, it would be. She's like, add that to my resume.
You get wild.
You're ridiculous. All right, my love.
Here we
Introduce
go.
yourself. Tell everybody what you want them to know about you and all your things.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
My name is Sarah Ward. I'm a sexologist. I'm a somatic sex coach, an erotic blueprints facilitator.
Very nice.
I feel like we could go deeper than that, but that's kind of like...
That's what she said.
Yeah,
this is going to be a fun hour.
Today is going to be the day.
Yeah.
We're just going to be like on repeat with that.
On repeat.
Well, also, like, the way you just presented that was very like, ooh, this is what I do. Yeah. Like, ooh, tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me about your blueprint.
Yes.
Know, right? And you can blueprint all over me.
Totally.
You would.
No,
that's exciting. I know, it's like very sexy stuff. Okay.
Totally. Well, and it didn't always start that way, right?
Like, how did you like get into all your things?
Thank you so much for that prompt. So I grew up in like a very unsexy context, as many of us do, right? Mm-hmm. I was born and raised in the Mormon church, and so I was very active in that for like 3 decades.
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Done all the things.
Damn.
So yeah, except for like little children. But besides that, it was like check, check, check. I did all of the boxes.
Wow.
And really, ultimately, it like I came confronted to the piece of, oh shit, I have all of these things that I need to unwind from, like, my body was off limits to myself. And when I was figuring things out in my marriage and going, okay, well, I really want to feel like we can go deeper, right?
Yes, totally.
It ended up being a big block. And so once I started looking at that and kind of like lifting the rocks and shining lights in the dark places, it showed me, oh, that wasn't actually as supportive and loving and encouraging of a space as I thought that it was. It was like literally just like encouraging me to be an asexual human. So in my personal journey, I ended up having to take a look at those places. And really, you have to make the unconscious conscious, right?
Yeah.
As a therapist. Yes.
Yes, all the things. Get in all the things. That's interesting,
all the crevices,
though.
if you will.
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked a couple of times about, people who come from like very religious backgrounds and like how, and just how much off limits your body is and sex is. And, and it's interesting. I was just watching a documentary, shocker. I love a documentary.
Watches a documentary.
And read books like all the time. That's all I do. That's all I do.
That's why your brain is so
make
beautiful.
Businesses. Yeah. It's literally all I do. And my poor husband, he's like, could you pay attention to me? I'm like, I'm watching this documentary. Hold on a minute. As I'm reading this book too.
Would you like to sit with me while I watch
would
this?
you be right here? Because then I'll touch your leg. And then we've had a moment. So no, poor guy. But I was watching one about the Duggars that had like the 8 zillion kids.
Oh my God.
And they were, super religious. And they were talking about, like how much, I think one of the daughters they interviewed, because she's kind of pulled away from the family and is like, I don't want to fuck with this. You guys are kind of crazy. And she talked about like how much you didn't learn anything about sex, but also like how much the church like took advantage of that, with like the kids and stuff. Yeah. And she was saying, she was like, being in such a heavily religious family, it's just like they weren't even allowed to kiss until they got married.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. And it's like, so they were like, oh, you couldn't hold hands, like nothing. And it was very like, not until you got married were you allowed to even lock lips. And I'm like, that is so interesting that it's definitely very controlling, obviously, and it makes it easier to control people, and it also makes it feel dirty, so it's easier for there to keep your secrets, which is shitty. But it's interesting when I hear people who are like, oh yeah, I was on this and then we went kind of way over here.
Totally.
Which makes sense,
And the pendulum swings, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the people that I know who have been brought up in religion, it actually puts so much more on the table from a kinky's perspective, because they're like, the taboo is the thing that's the turn on, really.
Yeah.
For kinky people.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing and a curse, right? Where it's like, oh God, well, my nervous system is still Christian, even though I'm not, right? And yet,
interesting.
There's more taboo realms that you can play in.
Yeah. Huh. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you got over there?
I'm kind of that. scenario there.
Really?
You know, like,
Oh, yeah.
so I know my childhood is interesting. Like my parents were like drug dealers, and
What?
my dad got busted when I was like 12, and the FBI like took him out with Uzis. He was
No
like a crazy, like drug dealer, very well known in the community for the wrong reasons. And then got clean, got sober, and then we like stumbled upon church essentially. Initially using it as like the reason that we could leave the house on Sundays because they couldn't deny us religious reasons, and he was on an ankle monitor. And then it ended up when I was like, I don't know, like 13, it ended up being like, we just kind of like found our faith. And then I kind of like grew up in the church. So in my very like moldable, like teenage years was very like into the religion and then into Christianity. And I'm still a believer, like, and I don't think that it has like destroyed or changed anything that way, but I can absolutely relate to not understanding sexual or sexuality, and then in my 30s finding that like there are things that I really do enjoy or am more curious about that I would have never even like admitted or explored in my marriage in my 20s, you know, like never you know, or like ever even like said it out loud. And now I'm like, ooh, like that, I want some more of that, you know. And I'm in a marriage now with somebody who is very supportive and loving and explores like with me.
Yeah.
So it's always very interesting to me when people are I don't know, coming into like the age of like their 30s, right? I feel like that's really where you figure out like who you are, like your brain is like fully developed at that point, allegedly.
Hopefully.
For some.
For some, yeah. I was like, I met a
Like,
few.
so,
you
like,
know who you are.
Yeah, two of us. The rest of us
We're
all have brain
still
damage
waiting.
anyway. But yeah, you kind of figure out like who you are and what you do and don't like just as a person. And so I've heard like from so many women in particular that like sex is better in your 30s. And I think it's because you're like more open and your body's like done doing all the growing and the shifting and like your pelvis is fused and there's all these like things that happen.
I like that.
And then you kind of really get to learn like what really does it for you, if you will. But like in a safe way, as opposed to like really exploring in your 20s. And at least for me, it was always about like my partner's satisfaction.
Sure.
And that's kind of in more like strict religions, it really is about like satisfying the man, and then just like your body is made to make babies, and like that, and not necessarily mine, but like my religion wasn't like that, but it was definitely like wait till you're married to have sex, and so there was like a lot of shame around that. So I thought we could talk about shame, and like how people kind of like work through that, and like maybe like what your experience is like working through that with people who come to you and like, okay, I know I want to do this, but I feel shameful in whatever aspect or whatever that looks like. So
you know what's so interesting is that the antidote to shame that I've discovered is actually pleasure, which is the last possible place that you would think to look for it, right? Like you would explore every other nook and cranny before you show back up at pleasure. But pleasure is actually the spoonful of sugar. Like it's the medicine that actually allows your body to somatically release these experiences and these held things that are stuck in the body. So I am constantly like, till the cows come home, I will say, have a pleasure practice, and not necessarily something that you're thinking about doing with another person, but like for the very purpose of understanding your own body, coming home to what it is that you like. I will never forget, I was sitting at a feminist Mormon retreat. We were with a sex therapist, and she
at the Mormon retreat.
At the feminist Mormon retreat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, all of that together.
We are fringe.
Wow.
We were certainly fringe. But this lady had submitted an anonymous Q&A. She was like, how do I know what I like? And my heart broke a little bit for her, where it's like, sweetheart, nobody else can do that for you. Like you can watch things and you can mimic them and you can play pretend and you can do things for another person to satisfy their desires.
Right.
But there's only one way that you figure that out. And that's by doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that was really intriguing. And I really think of a pleasure practice as a way to just investigate your own body, right? It's like learning to play your own instrument. I mean, you go to a yoga practice in order to figure that out. You do your scales if you're learning to play the piano, or, you know, figuring out the finger plucking on a guitar. There's finger plucking in other ways too.
There's a lot of things you can do. Yeah. Okay.
There's also that as well.
There's also that.
Yes.
But it starts with the self, right? Like learn to play your instrument. And then that way, when you're making music with somebody else, there's a higher likelihood that it can be harmonious and that you can introduce them to how your body operates, what she likes, he, she, they, whatever your pronouns are, whatever it is that they like.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was telling Kat before I was a therapist, I was in law enforcement. And so like I was a probation officer for a long time. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to do drug tests on the women.
Yeah.
And the amount of times, like, you know, you go in there and you're watching them pee basically just to make sure they don't have anything. And you're not like touching anything. But the amount of times when you would be like having discussions about, you know, their bodies and like things you might notice, like smells or concerns that you might be noticing even while they're, you know, half naked in front of you, and the amount of times that they were like, what is a labia? And I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, here we go. And, you know, and they would have kids sometimes and like have no idea of like any of their body parts. And it was like, fuck, okay. You know, and I remember even like one girl, she had tested positive like for an STD and she was 100% convinced that it wasn't her boyfriend that gave it to her because he told her that he put cocaine on his penis and that would make sure he never got an STD.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I was like, so can I also talk to him and drug test him? Because I imagine he's also on probation. So he had like convinced her that like if he put drugs on his penis and then they had sex, that she would not get an STD, basically.
That's curious. Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was like,
And she was like, that is what I'm going to believe.
Yeah, and she was like, so she like tells it to me and I'm like, how do I break this to you? Wrong. That's not true.
Wow.
That's false.
Yeah, false. Fake news. Oh my God. Oh, get a stick away from you. It's so bad. Everything, all the things are bad. She
It's
did.
trash. I'm trash. We're not doing this.
We're not doing this ever again. Yeah, exactly. And she did. She ended up with an STI, and I was like, this is exactly what. And she said after, she was like, you were not wrong. And I was like, yeah, I know I wasn't wrong. Like, but it's interesting to me, like how much, and you know, you think about it, like even in health class, it's not like they really spend like a lot of time being like, these are all your parts.
No.
And like, this is where this will probably feel good. They're just like, this makes a baby, stick a tampon here, and we'll see you next week, kids. And you're like, okay, here we go.
If they talked about female parts,
Yeah.
because really it was fear mongering and
Yeah.
it was shame producing and
Yeah.
it was don't do this because
Right.
we live in a puritanical culture.
Right. Don't put anything in there.
No.
Ever.
I didn't
Take
even
all
know
the
that
things
like my
out.
vagina had a hole until I was like 15 or
Yeah.
16. I was like, where does this go? How could it possibly? Like I saw my mom's tampons and I like bought the little OB ones, but I was like fidgeting
where
with
would
it and
this
I'm like,
go?
how did I don't
Well, and
know.
that's like even some women are like shocked when you're like you're like, oh, you have 2 holes, and they're like, wait, what? And you're like, oh, we're gonna have to have a conversation. And it's the same thing where you're like, okay, here we go. We're gonna do the things in the bathroom of the friggin' probation office.
Yep.
But it was like sex ed half the time in there.
Wow.
And it was interesting. It was very, very interesting. It was sad. It was very sad. But I mean, it's not uncommon. I think we still meet people all the time who are like, I don't, or they won't talk about it at all. They're just like, no, not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was 25 when I learned that not all vaginas look the same. Yeah, and I learned that in nursing school. From
Like,
a
open
male.
it. You're like, oh.
From a guy, like in my study group. And they were like, oh yeah, this is like... I was like,
Like, wait, what?
mine doesn't look like that.
Yeah. You're like, that's different.
Yeah,
That's
and
very
then
different.
we like have this whole conversation. It was like this guy, and then there was like 3 other girls. So it was like the 5 of us that used to study together all the time. And I was like, they were like, oh yeah, like your labia, like minora and majora, and like all this stuff. And I was like,
Wait, what?
but I like felt really dumb.
Yeah.
That I was learning
You're like, I'm not gonna say
vaginal anatomy
shit.
from a gay man.
From a dude. Yep.
A gay man.
Yeah,
And I was
even
like,
better.
Okay.
You're like, tell me more.
Yeah, I was like, what? I like blew my mind. I was like, hold on, we have to stop right the fuck now. We have to talk about this. And like all the girls were like, yeah, mine doesn't look like that. Mine has like this, or like the innie and the outie, and like a larger clitoris, or like a little hidden one. And I was like, oh my God.
You're like, I
I
don't
had
know.
not really ever like watched porn, or
Right.
if we had, like, I think I had watched porn like 3 times by that point, like with a boyfriend. And it was very much like,
Right.
Like, what are we looking at here?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that penis is so big.
They're like,
Yeah,
does
I
everybody
wasn't-
deliver pizza?
Yeah. Why is there ass in
Oh my
the
God, we
cup
ordered a
machine?
pizza. What's going to happen?
I know. I'm like,
The plumber is coming. Uh-oh.
Should I be naked? Like, what do I do? And he's like,
Yeah.
man, please put your clothes back on.
Yeah, I literally was like, I don't.
That's funny. Yeah, you're like, what is all that?
Yeah, I was really confused, and then I was like, oh boy, I have a lot of research.
Yeah.
And like that, mind you, I was like not a virgin at that point. You know, I had had sexual experiences. And I was like, what?
You're like, start over.
Yeah, I was really confused. And then when we went into like nursing school, like into clinicals,
Yeah.
I saw more vaginas than probably a prostitute.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I was an ear nurse for like 300 years. So I was like, oh, yeah, the amount of
Parts.
genitals I
Oh,
see,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in all shapes and forms and
Yeah.
sizes and
All the
scents.
things.
So now, you know, it's not really like you've seen one, you've seen them all kind of thing. But it was like any time that we talk about this kind of stuff and she brings that up, I'm like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I was like, I knew that I was kind of like a prude or like very vanilla.
Sheltered, maybe.
But,
Yeah.
But I had no idea that all the things I didn't know.
Well, and it's funny because the only honest reason that I knew by the time I became a probation officer is because when I was in college, I was in the play, The Vagina Monologues. And that is the only reason I knew because I was like reading and I'm like, wait, what? What are we talking? Wait, what? They do this and that looks like that. And that was the only reason. So by the time I got out of school and into probation, I was like, I know about the vaginas. I read the book. Shocker. And that's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
If it's not in that one, I don't know. I have to go. I have to get out of here. But when you like have somebody who like comes in and they're like talking about like the shame that they're carrying, like what do you see? What do you talk about? Like how do you just like help them like look at that and be like, all right, well, knock it the fuck off because that's not going to feel good.
Wow, I don't think she says it like that, Rebecca.
She should though. I mean, I think I would probably, I'd be like,
That's
should
why
knock
you're
it the
not a
fuck
sex
off.
therapist.
Yeah, I'd be like, I need you to knock it the fuck off.
Yeah.
And don't touch that right now.
You're right. Everything that I do is virtual, so I'm never in a room with anybody. Yeah.
That's good to know.
So
for everybody listening, don't be fucking showing up looking for her to touch you.
that's
Weirdos.
right. I do think that there's confusion around this, right? Like when I was talking about my experiences in becoming a sex coach, there was this douchebag from, another life who like slides into my DMs.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, gross.
And I absolutely blocked him. And I absolutely said, like, this is unwelcome conduct. Like, do not speak to me this way. Like, the things that he was saying was absolutely heinous. So I do think that there's
A misconception of
Exactly.
like, will you show me with you?
Totally, yeah. And he wasn't even asking for support. He wasn't scheduling a session. And this is like not any disrespect to sex workers, right? Like this is a necessary thing, but also I'm not a cam girl. Like this is not the purpose of showing up to sessions with me. Gratification is not something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I recently had talked to somebody who is he's a minister. And he's probably in his 70s. And it was really curious to me when we were talking about things where he was going, is this okay? Like, am I okay with this?
Oh.
And I felt so deeply for him to just see how there's so much depth and breadth of wisdom that he brings to the table in the way that he supports and nurtures his parish. And also when it came to his body, I could see how like the sex education had just been really low, right? And so he was looking externally for validation around something. And so really what my role is to be a guide and to be a sacred mirror, right? Like, let's talk about that together. Like, I don't want to find the answers for you. I don't want to create them for you. If there's something that you're dealing with, like, let's unpack that together.
Right.
But also, I don't want to just say like, here's all the answers, even though I have a lot. I want to guide them through that process because really, if you come to your own understanding, it's going to mean a lot more than if I give it to you.
Right.
Like a McDonald's
Well,
director.
that's like any lesson. I mean, that's like any
You won't
education.
hold- there's no buy-in.
Yeah. I mean, even if like, even my staff, they know, they come to me and they're like, hey, Kat, do you have this? And I'm like, did you do this part? Did you do that? Did you look at the thing? Like, I will not give you an answer because you're going to remember, or it's going to mean more. It's going to be more meaningful if you learn it or you remember or you discover it on your own.
You have to struggle a little bit to like figure it out. There's more buy-in just because it's like, that's yours. That's your process. You came to it on your own instead of me doing it for you.
Right.
And especially in that world.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting though. And that's kind of sad for him too. I feel bad for him. Poor thing.
It's heartbreaking.
It
really.
is. It's just shitty. And it's so interesting that like, I mean, I've talked about this too, like with how like Europe is like just whatever, like no one gives a shit. Here's all the things, here's all the parts,
totally.
and they're very like open and free about it, and they have a lot less, you know, of the fucking problems that we have because we do make it so hush hush. And you know, even like with my son, there was so he has two moms, so he has a bio mom, and then I'm his bonus mom, and I remember. When he was little, he would call his penis by a nickname, and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, you have to call it a penis because that's how kids get sexually abused because they nickname it, and then no one understands when you say somebody touched my cookie. Then people don't understand what you actually mean, and that something bad is happening. And I was like, nope, no. We got to do the parts and all the things, you know, because I was like, that's how bad things can happen. But it's also like, why do we do that? You know, like, why is it so weird if he was just like my penis? You know, I'm like, I don't understand why. Immediately we make it like for kids even it's just like nope, it has to be this weird fucking name like my woogly, and you're like what the fuck is that?
We also have just like generational shame, right? Generational shame, generational trauma, and so we're up against so many different lines. It's not just you living inside of your body, right? It's like something like there's in the last 300 years, there's like 2,500 people that have like, whose DNA has like created yours. Those numbers are maybe not totally accurate, but it's a lot. It's a lot of people.
I don't know numbers at all, so it'll be fine.
You're not talking to a math expert.
No. Me neither. Yeah, I dissociate a little bit. So
yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, yeah, you're right. And you have to think too, culturally, that always plays a big part too. And like, certain cultures, like you don't fucking talk about your body with anybody other than your doctor. You know, they're real hush-hush about
honestly, sometimes not even with your doctor.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and our doctors, I found this out recently that...
You're good. Get it, girl.
Me too.
I just talk it up.
Well, it's
like the audience is like, yes.
I know. So right in my ear. I would listen to like podcasts and stuff like in my car. So I'm like, it's like surround sound, you know?
Yes. Yes. And everybody listening is like, love it.
So they say that doctors, when they're going through medical school, get like 10 hours of sex education. That's it.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I was in school for fucking 12 years.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nowhere were they like, okay, let's talk about like any kind of sexual like pleasure or anything like that. And even I went through an entire like hormone education, like certification. And not once did they like dive into like the female or the male's ability to climax or like what? Yeah, not once.
Are you serious?
It's on the questionnaire. Our like inability to orgasm.
Yeah.
And then there's also erectile dysfunction. But I like I'm like, okay, we need to talk about some of the other things.
The first time she does my hormone pellets for me.
Oh, nice.
And we had only known each other for like 5 minutes, and she very quickly was like, do you have orgasms? And I was like, that is a very invasive question. I met you 10 minutes ago. Can I get some Cheetos while we have this conversation? I'm very uncomfortable.
Buy me dinner.
I was like, can you like pet my hair and tell me I'm pretty while we talk about this?
I could, but it would be weird that way.
Yeah. No, I would like, I'm like, it'd be like, Rebecca, please tell me your secrets. But
yeah, I do though. I have to ask like, okay, so, and sometimes like if females bring like their husband, I have to like give him the look, you know, like
wink, wink.
I'm like, any inability to climax?
Yeah. She's like, I love it every day. And you're like, call me after you leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can text me. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I do really like go into that because I feel like, again, I mean, at least from what I have seen as a practitioner, but also what I've experienced is that, in order to like satisfy your partner, they have to feel like they satisfied you or they like, you know, and at least like, okay, this is like male, female, but like the man doesn't feel accomplished unless he like got his chick off kind of thing. And I'm like, I feel like you have to put a lot more effort into it than you are. You know, I mean, I always say like men are like toasters and women are like crock pots, and it like takes us a long time to like warm up and be like happy and good, and the guys are like, oh, we're done. All right, well, here we are, we're ready to go. And I'm like, I don't.
And the factor of like what mood.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
because men are just like, oh, the sun rose. I would love to have sex.
Yeah, I mean,
And you're like,
I'm like, it's yeah.
I'm like, I've had 50 people crawl up my ass today with 5,000 questions. So if you touch me, I'm probably going to implode. So please don't.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, but the sun rose, and so am I. And it's like, oh, I love you so much.
Yeah, I love you a lot.
But I'm also very overstimulated with all the things. I listen to pure silence on the way home. That's how far off the edge I am.
Yeah, I think that and that too, like, can get in the way specifically, and for men too. But I find, at least for women, it's more difficult. Like, obviously, like, you get stuck in your head and you can like spiral and like, am I taking too long, or am I like, does this like look good to him, or
now?
Yeah, and then of course that like changes all the things for you, but also then you start to feel like guilty, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna fake it so we can just be done, and like, and that is again to satisfy the other person,
And brings up a
So
shit ton of shame.
performative. Yeah.
Right, because then you shame it, because then you shame yourself, and then you don't want to tell your partner, which then, adds to that shame too, which is so shitty. It's just like a shitty shame shit show.
It's a shitty shame shit show.
Shitty shame shit show.
Yeah, you go ahead and say that
10 times
That's right. Shitty shame shit show. If you ever need to rename your podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, next year we'll be like, so we've renamed this to
rebranded.
Shitty Shame Show Shit Show.
Yeah.
You're all welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's funny too, because I always I always laugh too, like when you watch movies and they're about to have sex and he like barely touches her and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like,
How
no,
though?
that's not real. That's
No,
fake
no, no.
news.
Yeah, you're like,
No.
that's
Like,
really interesting. Also, that's her knee and not her vagina.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Well,
you
also,
are
she
so
doesn't want her
fucked.
vagina to be touched just yet. You know?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I think sometimes they're like, Gold Star, I know how to find it. And I'm like, yes, but like,
Right.
we're not there yet. Please
Right.
slow
Right.
it down a
Yeah.
little bit. And over the summer, I had conducted this survey for women, vulva owners, as well as their lovers, to just kind of get a sense of, I wanted to see the lay of the land. I had a sense of what was going on. So there was about 300 people that filled out this survey.
Dang.
And it was really fascinating to just kind of get a sense of like, all of the women were like, foreplay, we want more.
Interesting.
Because really, like, outer
Yeah.
course is where it's at. For
Right.
most women, 98% of these women and vulva owners had said, I need clitoral stimulation in order to get off. And when I asked, how satisfied are you to the women? They said 3.4 out of 5, which is not bad.
Yeah.
It's
I would
a
like it
C
to be higher
plus,
for the
right?
ladies.
Yeah, exactly. We could do better.
Yeah.
But when I asked the men and their lovers, right? I think 76% were men, 24% were women. Again, math.
Yep.
Maybe that doesn't make sense, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
And somehow those numbers make 100. Got it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like catching everybody else up here.
Yep. I'm like, yes.
Thank you.
That is a good number. What is the number, Kat?
And I'm
I'm
like,
so glad to be in company with women that are like numbers hard.
I'm
no
the worst.
math.
And she'll rattle something off. I'm like, I don't even know what day it is. Stop it. Stop
Yeah,
your shit.
I'm like,
I'm too
that's the wrong
dyslexic for this
person.
shit. I don't have time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Worse.
So what the men had said, when I had said, how confident do you feel in making your lover orgasm?
Yeah.
And the women were at 3.4, like, this is how much I orgasm. And the men were like, I am a 4.4 out of 5. I was like,
interesting.
a
yeah, they're like,
full
I'm fucking
point.
killing it. And you're like,
A full point. Yeah.
She's like, I wasn't even in the room last
No.
night.
yeah.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, I was asleep.
She's like, I was across the country, but sure, fuck
God.
yeah. Rock that vagina.
So I really believe that they earnestly want to do better. And I also believe that we get in our own way when we are faking it, right? When
Yeah,
we are
for
saying,
sure.
oh, yeah, it's so much better than it is. And when we are having that type of performative sex where it's like, what does he think? He, she, they, right? Whoever you're with, what do they think of my body? Like,
Right.
what do they think of how I smell? How do I taste? How do I, are they looking at my cellulite?
Right.
You know, and we get panicky and
Yeah.
then we're all the way up here.
Yeah.
And if you're overthinking, you're underfeeling, right?
Right.
So it's not, this is so antithetical to the experience of being embodied, right?
Yeah.
And that's where all the good stuff happens. So if we're just up here all the time, then we're missing out on like so much juicy goodness. And really the body is sending like way more signs to the brain than the brain is vice versa. Like it's
Yeah.
an 80-20 kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's, it's such a problem. It's
Yeah.
such a problem because
Yeah.
we're all so concerned about it. And it is this kind of like egoic thing,
Right.
and making him feel better about ourselves. But I've absolutely left loverships where I'm like, oh, you're not here for my orgasm? Like, peace,
Yeah.
deuces. Like, this
Gotta
is
go.
not going to work for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Which most partners won't do that, I think. I think you have a lot who are like, well, just suck it up and just die this way. And you're like, that sounds great.
just- I mean, my
and it's
my
like,
previous
oof.
relationships, like, were not as satisfying as
Right.
this one, you know. And so, I'm like,
Which is why you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Deep in it.
Yes. Deep in it. But I think too, like sometimes because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this like multiple times, but like I didn't know that sex could be as like enjoyable as it is. And so I was in a relationship for a really long time, like almost a decade. And then we split, and then it was like in my mid 30s. And so I got to like learn and explore and all this stuff. And when I started like really enjoying sex, I was like telling my girlfriends like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do this. Did you do that? Did you know how to do this? You know? And like, they used to joke like, yes, Kat, we know you're having great sex. Thanks. You know? And I was just like, I don't think you understand like how life-changing this is for me.
Actually.
That's great that like maybe you've been having this great sex your whole life, but fucking hell, man.
I'm new to the party. Let me have my moment.
I literally was like, I didn't even know my body could do that, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
and like for my partner to not judge me and just be like, okay, well, we can like try this next time, or what do you think about this? You know, like it's almost like we have like a debriefing after, like, what did you like? What did you not like? Do you enjoy this? And we've done that our entire relationship. So that,
so
and
good.
we're both like really comfortable with that. I've never in a previous relationship been like, did you like that? Because
yeah.
oh my God, if you said no, I'd have to leave America.
Yeah, you're like,
I'd
I
have to,
back
like,
on my shit.
I'm like, well,
Nobody loves me.
I'm moving to the Netherlands.
I'm terrible at this. Everything sucks. I hate this. I have to go home.
Yeah, I'm trash.
We will never have sex with you again.
Yeah, never again. Yeah, instead of being
I am a
like,
trash panda. I have to get the fuck out of here.
Trash band.
I have to go home.
Yeah.
No one loves me.
I mean, but we both like really like worked through some things because we started off with communication, not like
love that.
later having to like
Build
almost
it.
like backtrack, you know, and because that for me was more difficult as I'm like, you know, 7-8 years in and been like, how do you tell like the person
Right.
you've been with for so long, like
Actually, you're doing everything wrong.
yeah, you're not like doing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, you're really actually hurting me. Get off me. I hate
Yeah,
you.
or like it's not like it's fine, right? But like,
Right.
who wants to have sex that's fine?
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
3.4 is kind of fine. At this
Right,
point.
yeah, that's like right, yeah, it's very mediocre, and I am
And I
like
would be curious
not a
if
mediocre
some of them
girl.
are just being kind too. You know, like that
They
number.
are being
Well,
kind.
and this is the interesting part is that when I looked at the data, like
Yeah.
22%, so that's almost 1 in 4. Yeah.
Hey, I see what you did
I'm
there.
like, sure it is. Okay.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it is.
And
I'm
I'm like, oh, let me write that the fuck down. That's news to me today.
like, where's my AI note
I
taker?
know. I was like, oh my God, keep that on the video so I can write that down. I'm like, yes, it is.
Are we transcribing this?
I know, right? I'm like, fuck, can I get that? And then I fucking, can I get that on Cliff Note, please?
So cute. Gonna frame and post it for you.
I know. I'm like, can you remind me of that later so I can write it down because I hate it all the numbers. Yes, it is.
Almost 1 in 4.
Yes, 1 in 4. Yes.
So almost 1 in 4 of the women, femmes, vulva owners elected not to answer that question about how sexually satisfied they were.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that was a lot. And
Wow.
I found myself looking at all those silences, right?
Yeah.
All of those lack of responses. I'm wondering like, what is in that? What is
Right.
in that? Is it too scary to look at?
Right.
Is it too confronting?
Yeah.
Is it, even though I know this is anonymous, what if at
What
some
if it's not?
point-
What if they find
Right.
out?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is she gonna tell? She's gonna tell all my secrets. That's
I'm
Right.
absolutely
interesting,
not
though.
gonna
I'm
email
surprised
anybody
that
this.
there's that many.
Right?
I'm not.
That's sad.
Really?
I'm not.
I
at
would
all, at
assume
all.
like with anonymous, it would be a little less just because it's anonymous. Like in face to face, yeah, I could totally see them being like, everything's great, I love it. But anonymous, that kind of surprises me.
It
you
hurt
know?
my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad. I'm trying to think of like the last assessment I ever did, like on anything if I liked. I guess it's like those personality ones where you're like, yes, I love everyone. No, I wouldn't run them over with this train.
yeah, you're like, I will get arrested. I mean, this is fine.
Yeah, I'm like murder. Oh no, that A is the answer.
All is good.
Fuck. Whatever the fuck is on here.
Yeah.
Not
When in
that
doubt,
one.
pick C.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yes, I always want to be around people. They bring me joy.
This is not perimenopause speaking.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, I'm fine. Everything's
Nope,
fine.
that's just Rebecca.
Everything's great.
I will tell you something that I have like kind of noticed or discovered about myself is that I think, at least for me, I was definitely kind of like blocking my ability to like fully enjoy sex and to orgasm because I didn't feel safe enough to like give that
Yes.
to someone else.
Yes.
Because my husband and I have talked frequently, for males, it's different, you know? So, like, there's like, there's a very slim chance you don't finish, right? Unless you have, you know,
some issues,
erectile
some things
dysfunction or
going
whatever,
on.
right? But if we're talking like just standard protocol, if you will, there's very slim chance that if you continue the exact same motion for long enough,
For
you know,
8 to 12 minutes.
right? Yeah.
You will be good to go.
And, like, if you really put your fucking back into it, you're gonna finish. But for females, it's totally like not like that, like at all.
Yeah.
Because you can totally like detach or dissociate, and you could just whatever.
Yeah.
But he was like, I can't believe in like 30 something years, well, I wasn't having sex for 30 years. But he's like, in all the years that you have had any kind of like sexual encounter, I had never orgasmed from sex. And he was like, how was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it was like, didn't like do it for me. And the more like self-discovery and the more like, because it took a little while with him too, because I didn't know and he didn't know. We were learning me and each other and whatever. But I have noticed a pattern in that if I'm not like willing to like allow that to happen in my body, it just won't.
Oh no.
It just, I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. Because there have been multiple relationships and like sexual encounters. Not that I'm like sleeping with America, but
Some days.
sometimes.
Bitch has to pay her rent.
We all have our era.
No judgment.
Feet pics.
Yeah.
But I definitely did notice, like, I don't think I really ever felt like safe enough to do that until now.
Yeah.
And the safety piece, I'm so glad that you named it because it is so essential. And this world, this planet is not safe.
Right.
Our government is not safe. The person who's running the country is not safe. I don't know how you guys feel
you can
about
talk
this.
about it.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
Cool.
We're really hard to offend.
Yeah, I would really, I don't even know what you would have to do math in front of me. No, I'm just kidding.
Correctly.
Yeah, correctly.
Make me feel less than.
I actually wouldn't because I'd be like, fuck, I don't even know what day it is again. Fuck, it's just all the math things. But yeah, it's rough.
She said, is it Thursday? Well, it's always Thursday
It's
when
Thursday's
we pod.
pod day. That's the only reason I know what day it is because we pod. Otherwise, I'm like, where am I and what year is it?
I only know because my watch says it's Thursday.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, you're right. The safe shit is very well, and that's what I mean. We've talked about the same thing. My husband's the first place in my entire world I've ever been safe, ever in my entire life, and he's my favorite place to be for that reason. Like I just want to like crawl in his little fucking armpit and just hang out there like an otter with a rock, you know.
Here we go.
That's so cute.
I swear I think otters are artistic because they love rocks. I've decided that otters are artistic because they
holding hands.
and they like to hold hands and their little fucking rocks are all stored up and they love a rock. So same. Anyways, there's my side note on that one.
You should also know that Rebecca is severely autistic.
Yeah, I got the hardism. I got all the fucking neurodivergent. That's what we were talking about today. I was like, I am the fucking umbrella, bitches.
She's like, what do you got? You got
And
this
I'm like,
here?
which one? And they're like, oh, would you like a little gifted? Would you like a little Lexia? And I'm like, fuck all the things.
I brought you a rock.
Yeah, and I am. I'm like,
Fuck yeah, she would
I
be
love
like,
the rock. I would. I'd be like, this is so shiny. Put it in my rock bucket. But yeah, I think the safe thing is probably, and it's funny because like you don't, I think until you're in that safe place, you don't always recognize like, oh fuck, like this is literally the first time ever or the first human ever who I'm like, I'm actually like authentically safe with this person.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to worry about like all the same things, you know? It's very interesting because I don't think I would have just one day you're just like, oh, fuck, this is real nice. This is real different.
Yeah, it's like one day you're like,
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, you're not like wound tight.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
an unwinding that happens. And I remember the second time that I had sex with my current partner. And I remember the script that was playing in my mind where it's like, you are safe with him.
Aw,
You are safe with
that's
him.
nice.
You are safe with him. And then I was like, unlock. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And there it
Yeah,
goes,
it's
right?
very different.
And then here comes the orgasm,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because in like first time encounters, that very rarely happens, right? And you've spoken to Kat about just how difficult it can be for women to orgasm, right? And I do think that so much of the safety piece is so foundational that make her feel safe,
Right.
and then she can unlock the erotic.
Right.
And then also interestingly, there's the kinky people where it's like, if you can make me feel risky, then you're also unlocking the erotic. So
right.
Yeah.
either safety or risk. But I think that underlying is the safety of like, I'm
Yeah.
safe with this person.
Yeah.
This person's
You
going
like
to
have
take
to
care.
feel safe enough to take the risk, and then also safe enough that like if I say this weird kinky thing or I ask you to do this thing to me or however, like you're not gonna judge me, kind of thing. So yeah, the risk and like the taboo and all that, but also like you would want to make sure you know that like you're like not being judged when you say the risky thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really hard for people. I keep seeing it. They're like, what if I say that I want this thing and then they judge me, right? And so in so many ways, I just want to like wrap my arms around, you know, all of us that are craving more than what we're getting and feeling so afraid and ashamed of the things that we desire.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, people aren't necessarily telling me what those things are necessarily, but I have a lot of compassion.
Yeah. I think too, it's like, you know, even when I think there's times where this one, she's like, don't judge. I'm like, bitch, I'm not judging. But
Yes, the fuck she is.
I'm judging lots of other people. I don't judge her because I care. Like her.
Oh, you mean with me? Don't judge me?
I don't judge
no,
you.
shouldn't judge me.
No, I mean, I judge other people for sure. Like, all
Like,
day.
if you
While they're
judge me, I'll
driving,
judge
oh my
you.
God.
I'm like, oh, let me make a list. It's just because I'm a judgy bitch. But it's funny because there are times though people will tell me about stuff, you know, and I'm like, and it's not that I'm judging. Yeah. But like, for example, like polygamy or polyamory.
Sure.
I'm like, the fuck? And it's not because like, I don't give a shit what you do. You can hump this carpet. And I'm going to be like, please just keep it clean. But to me, I'm like, fuck no. I won't even share my french fries, let alone my fucking favorite person on the planet.
Right.
Like, like I just walk behind him. And when women stare at him, I like come out like on the side and I'm like, I'll fucking kill you. And he's
There's,
like,
memes
he's
about
like,
you.
yeah, exactly. I'm like this. I'm like ready to fight. And it's like a velociraptor. And that's literally, he's like, settle the fuck down. Because he's like, he'll turn around. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, that bitch right there. And
She
he's like,
looked at you.
Yeah. He was like, she made eye contact. He's like, what are you talking about? You know, and
Yeah,
he's like,
and
real
he's
tall.
like,
He's like,
she
not even
is
paying attention.
actually a man. I need you to back the fuck up.
Yeah, he's like, that's actually my mom. And I'm like, what? Fuck her, I'll fight her. And it was so funny because that literally happened. We were in Alaska and my his mom sends him this picture and it's him in like a tuxedo, like in high school, and it's her. And I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? And then I was like, fuck, that's his mom. And like, thank God I like said it in my head first. And then I was like, oh, I totally was about to fight your mom. My bad. Like,
That's
oof.
very funny.
But so I'm like, sure as shit, not going to share my husband. But again, it's like, you do you. You know, you get your niggly bits touched. I don't give a fuck. Just do it with, you know, consent and the appropriate ages and all the things. But yeah, I'm like, I don't really care. I just personally, I'm like, there's no fucking way. No way.
No.
I wouldn't share my husband. That's crazy.
And nobody's asking you to.
No,
which is
thank God.
wonderful.
They would die.
Yes.
Would literally
yeah,
kill
that's why they're
someone.
not asking.
You'd cut a
Yeah, 'cause
bitch.
they just look at my
Oh, she'll
face.
kill me.
They're like, that bitch is crazy as fuck. And I'm like, I am.
I know. They're like, I suggest you listen to her podcast before you look at her head.
Yeah, you're like, she carries a gun. She's concealed carry. So you should probably back the fuck right up.
Murder you. Do you find that that's something that you come across is like polyamory or like exploring and that kind of stuff?
Definitely. Yeah. I think that people are really hungry. So in that survey over the summer, when I was saying, if you could wave a magic wand, like what would happen in your life? And a lot of the men and the lovers of the women were saying, God, I'd love to be open. I'd really love to be able to share. I'd really love to be able to explore that together, to have play parties, whatever that looks like. So I don't know how many of them are actually making that a reality, but over the spring, I was noticing that the men that were coming into my containers were saying, oh yeah, I'm really craving other experiences with other human beings.
Interesting.
And I've been in this relationship for a long time. So it's certainly men are craving that, but women are too, right? So I write a weekly Substack, and in that community, I see a lot of people. Well, first of all, Substack is just like a really friendly environment. Like I cannot say vulva or penis or sex on Instagram without getting shut down, right?
Yeah, when they're like, they graped them. And I'm
Shadow
like,
banned.
the fuck does that mean? Oh, okay, got it. Now I'm ready.
They graped them.
Yeah, and I'm
you're
like, wait, what? And then I'm like, why are we bringing fruit in? And then I'm like, oh, we're okay, all right. Let me watch the
why
video
are we
again.
bringing fruit
I'm like,
in?
are there bananas? Like, that's weird. I got fucking real
There are
weird. And then
bananas.
I'm like, oh, okay,
And
sorry,
eggplants.
rewind.
different. She's like, well, we have to play that back because I
I'm
like.
oh, I was watching the fruit go around. Okay, anyways, and yes, continue.
yes.
Yeah, you can't say the things.
You can't say the things, right? Yeah, they totally shut you down. So on Substack, it's a place where you can absolutely show up. And outside of pornography, like there's a lot of leeway there. So I certainly see more people that are seekers and like edging into polyamory.
It's interesting. I saw that a ton with our clients during COVID.
Yes.
I saw a shit ton of our clients start to have polyamorous polygamy relationships during COVID. And then as soon as COVID ended, they were like, what the fuck do we do now? And it like really like fucked with their marriages. Like right at the end of COVID, it was really interesting.
Curious.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. We had at least, I can literally think of at least 6 couples, separate couples who all tried it. And then like when COVID ended, it like, I don't know, everyone was like,
Shut
okay,
the
wait,
door.
we can go back to normal things. And so that wasn't allowed anymore.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting. But I definitely saw an uptick during COVID. I mean, I saw an uptick of humans just looking for humans. Obviously, we're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to be alone.
Oh my God.
And then the minute you're like, shut the doors, nobody can touch anybody, everyone's like, I'm going to touch everybody. Well, you're also, because we're humans. And we're like, the minute you're like, can't do that, we're like, burp, burp,
But
that's what I want.
Exactly
you're like,
what
I said, don't do that. And you're like, do it twice. So I definitely saw like an uptick of just like human and human interaction. But I saw a lot of that open marriage happening during COVID and then hitting the brakes as soon as it ended, which was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a shit show. It was like an absolute shit show.
Right. I mean,
And it
there
was mostly
are
the men that were like,
levels
to
to that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing, there's a therapist that I follow, and she specializes in this type of like opening up and what does that look like? And she was saying like, there are levels. You don't just like jump into bed with somebody. It's like, could we explore this? Like, what would that feel like? How could we share? Right. And the communication, to your piece earlier, the communication has to be through the roof if you're exploring in this type of way. And I think a lot of us get into it not knowing what we're ready for.
Yeah. I don't touch my husband. That's what I'm ready for.
That's
Whole world. No touching my husband.
Just making eye contact with the camera.
she's so
I'm
funny.
looking at everybody in the entire universe.
Oh my God.
All 6 followers.
all 6 of you.
And
So-
one of them's my mom.
One of them is not my mom, thank God. Because that,
That'd be fun.
I just subscribed today.
Wait,
So.
yay,
but yeah, my mom is
7.
spontaneously
7,
combust.
but you've met me, so now you know.
Yeah, now you know.
Can't touch
You
my
know what to
husband.
get into.
Yeah.
So, as far as like, have you like coached like somebody or couples or anything like through that? Because it's like a really like hot topic, and it's very like, I don't want to say hot topic, but it's kind of always been around in the background, very quiet, like even in like biblical times. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, we're going to bring that in, but so it's been around for a really long time, but in the last, I don't know, maybe decade or so, we'll say it's really been like kind of pushed to the forefront, and people are really talking about it and like bringing awareness to it and all that. So I'm just curious if you have experienced like working with people, that, or couples, whatever.
There was somebody that I was working with recently, a man, and he was interested in opening that up. And so I was giving him specific guidance around, here's how you could ask for it. Like, here's some communication tools. Here's some pieces that you could do to bring and to establish safety, right? So that she doesn't feel like your relationship is at risk if she decides, oh no, that's actually not for me. It is such an important piece to name it, though, and to say this is something that I want. And I do sense that people get really scared about being so public about it, even with their partner, because there's a threshold. Like, once you say, I want this, then what happens past that point, right? Like, is there any going back? Because will it feel like this is an ultimatum, right? Is it really a safe enough place for them to say no, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something that we were working on recently, and just the exploration of like the communication piece. It wasn't even like getting into like, yes, we're going to do this together. It was like, how do we get to that edge so that she can just see me and see me in my desires?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. My husband and I have some friends, like multiple sets of friends, some here, some like in other states, that are exploring and doing that. And we're just like so curious. We're like, oh my God, what do you think is going to happen next? It's like watching a soap opera.
Yeah.
We're like on Facebook.
In
we're
real
like,
life.
oh, did you see so-and-so did this? And like, did you know about this? And we're like, I didn't see that coming,
Yeah.
It's a little interesting. So it just was, because it's like lots of people are like more like public about it.
Yeah.
And so...
And some people are totally not, right? Like, I know other people that are, I know that that's going on, but not a lot of their friend group knows that that's happening. Their children don't know that that's happening, So it's everyone's own decision how many people they bring into the conversation around what's going on with that. So to each their own.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, people, if it's not your world, sometimes people have a tendency to be like real, like, what the fuck is that? Which,
Yeah.
I get it.
Or like, I mean, and that could be also said for like the kink world or BDSM or whatever.
Right.
Like if you're talking about wanting something, whatever that something could be, or even maybe it's even like, I'd like to have sex every day. Right. And that's like, so not where like the other partner like comes from when that is like brought to you, and then you're maybe the one that like isn't the person that's done that or wants that. it puts you in like a weird position where you're either like, if I say no, they're either going to resent me or they're going to think that like I'm weird for it, or they're going to do it and not really want to do it kind of thing. So I feel like it really brings up a lot of like insecurity and like worry. And that again could be with anything that they ask for, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Or want or desire. And then you feel like, or if they say no, then the person that asked maybe feels like shameful or like, should I have said that? Or like, did I do something wrong? Or do they think differently of me? Is it going to change the dynamic? There's like a lot of layers to that.
Yeah. It's a big risk to be seen and to be known in that way. And it's a really curious piece that came up recently. Did you guys see the movie Baby Girl?
Yeah.
With Nicole Kidman. Yeah. So in it, we'll just kind of like bring you up to speed. Nicole Kidman is...
She doesn't watch any movies.
Okay, yes, I do. The last movie I watched was called